no-fault divorce is very, very bad.
But I think the reform to no-fault divorce is far simpler. It should be reformed by simply ceasing to exist. Marriage is much more than a contract. It's a covenant.
There are a lot of problems with the current legal structure of marriage. I agree with that critique of the current legal structure of marriage. No-fault divorce is one of the worst things that ever happened to Western civilization.
I think she's entitled to nothing during these proceedings. And I think the problem is no-fault divorce.
I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
We got to get rid of no-fault divorce.
Well, Tim Pool, you might be getting your wish because there are Republican lawmakers who are literally working on that type of policy as we speak. So conservative lawmakers in multiple states and on a national level are considering attempts to eliminate or restrict divorces in cases where fault cannot be proven.
So I didn't, I'm not married, right? So I don't need to get any more personal than that, right? But I didn't realize that no fault divorce was like this much of a thing, right? I guess it's gone to, they're making so many changes. We've been liberalized so much that like we live in a society where everything is just, come a free for all, come as you please, leave as you please, do whatever, get naked, don't get naked, whatever, right? That's the reality. And, the fact is like, there's a lot, when I talk about this, like, yes, I'm putting, this is like a opinion piece, if you will, because of my, what is the word I'm looking for? My values in life, right? I don't think everything should be so willy-nilly in life. So apparently no fault divorce is a thing where you could just say, you know what, I'm done and that's it. And I mean, I guess, yeah, at the end of the day, you can just say, I'm done and that's it. And the government should not be able to force you to stay in anything that you don't want to stay in. It's just like, though, to me, it is a little, you know what? If it takes the government to tell you that you shouldn't be rushing into marriage, then I guess the government just can still just do whatever you want. There's just the values in life, they're gone. I mean, really, on a cultural level, what culture do we necessarily have right now?
Right now, laws exist on or in all 50 states that allows people to end a marriage without having to prove that someone in that marriage did something wrong, like cheating or domestic abuse. The socially conservative, though, and often religious members of society have a different idea, right? So right-wing opponents of such laws are arguing that this deprives men of due process and it hurts families. In reality, oftentimes, couples that want a divorce don't want to accuse each other of terrible things. They just want to part ways and be done with it. And I don't really see how it's beneficial for society to force two individuals who no longer want to be in a marriage to continue being in a marriage, living under the same roof and being miserable with one another.
Let me help out Anna just a little bit more. And right before I help out Anna, guys, I'm gonna, there's like some serious firecracker stuff going on around here. Anyway, right before I help Anna, I want to thank you guys for watching for sure. Everybody who's been watching, everybody who's been liking and subscribing, everything. Like, I really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Now, we could say, yes, of course, the government should not force anybody to do anything that they don't want to do, which is why people need to understand that when you get married, that this isn't supposed to be just some sort of, like, I don't want to say a game, but it shouldn't be something so willy-nilly, like I was saying earlier, right? Here's the thing with the no-fault divorce, what I'm imagining and why men like Steven Crowder is saying it doesn't matter what I say. Well, women, don't be mad when the men ask for prenups, right? I mean, this is actually scaring the crap out of me. I'm not going to lie to you. It is. Like, the fact that somebody could just walk up and just be like, yo, I'm just going to divorce you, right? And something like that, I've seen that happen before. It's not a good feeling, too, on the other side for women who've given all their, like, given themselves into their marriage, and then all of a sudden it's like, it's just over. But men, I can imagine, are just like, F this, I'm just not getting married. This is what this will turn into, because, or if it's already turning into that, women could just say, without a prenup, okay, they went in for the, they worked, they went in, the deal was good. They stayed for 2 years, had a couple kids, maybe. Okay, maybe it takes about 3 years. They put their time in. Now all of a sudden they're not in love with dude. And maybe dude was a simp, and guess what? They didn't sign a prenup. And now, like this song that I listened to by Andre 3000, UGK, I Choose You. If you listen to the last part of the song, they talk about this happening where, now it's like you got to pick up the kids, and the person gets tipped every month on schedule.
Many of you have already heard claims from conservatives like Tim Pool who think that it's a bad idea to allow people to have these no-fault divorces. And you're about to hear more. Let's watch.
What we're talking about in the American divorce regime is called no-fault divorce. And no-fault divorce is, one, a contradiction in terms. You can't get it. You can't break a contract if there's no fault of anyone. And two, it's horrific for children and it's horrific for the spouses.
Marriage is much more than a contract. It's a covenant. To truly go your own way, alone and isolated, is to give up on your duty, your legacy, your ancestors, your bloodline, your civilization, your happiness.
Marriage is a commitment. That commitment is lifelong. There should actually have to be a really, really, really good reason why you are divorcing. And that's particularly true if you have children, because of course, marriage is designed as the fundamental building block of institutional society. It is the place where children are reared. It is the place where you produce children in the first place, and children require stability.
The traditional response.
Okay, so just for a moment there, I don't normally always agree with Ben, but I'm just joking. There are times where I agree with Ben Shapiro when he's talking more about like cultural type stuff. I definitely agree with him on that. That's the thing. Everything is just so, again, willy-nilly. I mean, matter of fact, I think I took this picture just so I can add it. I must remember to put it in the edit. I'm taking a walk, we're going out and getting my, walk and run and everything. And then on the ground, this is what I see. Okay. So everything is willy-nilly. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's medication to end a potential pregnancy. But why is this like wrapper just on the ground on the floor? Like if it's some sort of lifesaver's wrapper, right? Like candy, like we just toss the candy. Why is anything on the ground really, right? This is how much our society has gone into a place of just, again, liberation. We're liberated girls. We go to the Rite Aid and we get our pills and we shut it down. And, whatever somebody decides to do is what they do. I can't stop a person, but our society, again, just promotes liberation so much that people are tossing things like this on the floor. They're getting married. They're done getting married. They just, and then there's kids in the middle of it. It's like, come on, it is a bit much. And then what happens is that you breed children outside of marriage or some sort of broken marriage that ends up, kind of, I don't know, like some co-parenting that just isn't fair for the child. I'll just say that.
As to how you fix marriages, divorce is not allowed.
Okay, but
there's rare circumstances where like a guy is threatening to murder and beating his wife and his kids, and infidelity is one of these things.
No-fault divorce is an absolute tragedy. It is the catalyst for every other degenerate marriage and relationship problem that we have in society.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into.
Okay, so we're not going to do TYT's ad, but I am going to ask you again to please like and subscribe. Now, the chick was saying that it's the catalyst for every degenerate thing in society. I would argue that it's not. I'm very, I like to think I'm pretty socially conservative, but that's not what it is. That's definitely not. I think that the removal of, and I'm not trying to make this a religious episode, right? But we're talking about some serious stuff here. And like Matt Walsh said, it is a covenant, right? So I think the removal of God in society. What is the removal of God? No, I'm not saying you have to teach kids about God in school, but it's almost like when you talk about God, you almost feel like you have to almost apologize for it. It's like, oh, I don't want to get too religious. I don't want to get too, why not? They're a creator. I could respect somebody who doesn't respect that there's a creator, but I should be able to still talk about it. So it's like and y'all know what I mean. The feeling of you can't talk about certain things. It's become taboo to talk about a creator. So that's really where the degeneracy starts, but okay.
Okay, great. Go ahead and pass laws restricting divorce, and let's see how much the marriage rate drops from what it already is. It's already dropped considerably, but you're gonna make it harder for people to divorce. You're gonna have more people living under the same roof, having children out of wedlock, which is what conservatives don't want. Like the idea that a couple needs to prove that there's a good reason for them to divorce in order to be able to part ways is ridiculous to me. And this is coming from individuals who purport to want to protect freedom in America. But they're getting involved in literally the most intimate personal decisions that Americans can make about their personal lives. It is insane. In the case of Steven Crowder, by the way, he was bitter after it was exposed that he's pretty abusive to his wife. And yeah, she wanted a divorce. Who wouldn't want a divorce? And by the way, I just want to make clear, in that case, I wouldn't say that it's a no-fault divorce. It seems like there's some evidence indicating that that relationship was not a good one, potentially a very abusive one. And I hope that she's able to part ways with him and not have to deal with him ever again. Unfortunately, they have children together, but it is what it is.
The whole thing. The last part of the spiel, I am like completely like, I'm just like, oh, I don't believe everything she said. I'm against. Number one, I saw a video of Steven Crowder yelling, or not even yelling. He wasn't even yelling, getting, snippy with his pregnant wife, which I can understand why that does look very disturbing to a person when they're just like, the person's like extremely pregnant and somebody's yelling at them. I don't know what they were arguing about first though. How long? I don't know. I don't know. And to lob, I don't do labels, bro. I like when people say, "Oh, he's a PDF." Do you know that for sure? Right. So to even say about Steven Crowder, well, yeah, he was abusive to his wife. Why? Because they're having an argument and he raises his voice. I know that wasn't the first time he raised his voice at her. What about all the other stuff that came out about Steven Crowder, Steven Crowder's wife, and how they were going to get him and all these kind of things? Like, so I'm not in their relationship. Maybe there is a reason to get him. I can't think of one at the moment. It's not for me to know or not know. But that's why I was extremely annoyed when people were stepping into their relationship, including Candace Owens, who was like, "Oh, I want to get in touch with his wife so that we can see, talk about what." So I thought it was crazy. I was like, there's never a beef in the world where I would involve, ex-wives and ex-husbands. Never. Hope everybody's grown from that, but I don't think so. But I don't know. I could be wrong. The other part is like, well, unfortunately, they have children together. It's not unfortunate. I mean, it's a beautiful thing that they have children together. God bless those kids. It's unfortunate that they're breaking up and they have children together. I'm very vigilant about the words I choose to use in these kind of situations. I know maybe I'll come at it in an angle of like preaching. It's not that. It's just that I wish people would give importance to the things that deserve importance, such as marriage. And then she's saying, you're going to see the marriage rate fall. That might be a good thing. Just because a marriage rate is high doesn't mean it's a good thing. There's people who were about to get married and then they realized like, this isn't going to work. And so they didn't. And that might have been the better thing. It's not always about the stats. Is this a marriage that should be? And so maybe if people didn't have easy ways to get out of everything, they would think twice. I say the same thing really about abortion. I do. I say, I'm like, if they like banned all ABOs, people are like, oh, they will all be on the back alleys, having hang. People would start using protection. You might even see the STD rate go down. I know how the human mind works. They'll be like, I can't get out of this. Especially when I know chicks who did it like a good 15, 20 times. Let that marinate. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.